Oh my goodness me, before she gets into those crazy, we just have to take a moment for the background singers because that was just absolutely stunning. This is just so fantastic. I think this is actually better than the original. Kia ora and welcome. My name is ZoeStibi and I'm a vocal coach with over 18 years of experience in teaching people like yourself how to sing. If you're interested in learning how to sing, my online singing school, the Vocal Academy, is accepting new students. Check it out in the description below. Today we're going to be taking a look at What a Girl Wants. I love this song. We had a look at the other performances. Can't wait. What a girl wants, what a girl needs. See what they're up to with their vocal technique.
I wanna thank you for giving me time to breathe. Like a rock, you waited so patiently while I got it together, while I figured it out. I only looked, but I never touched, 'cause in my heart was a picture of us holding hands, making plans. And it's lucky for me you understand what a girl wants.
Absolutely love that Sabrina has not changed her sound for the song. She's not trying to mimic Christina. Absolutely fantastic. Thicker vocal fold or this chest voice sound with just a little bit of breath coming through. And you can hear that with a little bit of that coming in there at the beginning of the phrase. You can also see the microphone's very, very close to her mouth, so it tells us low, 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 low volume. Let's just look at this again.
Waited so patiently while I got it together, while I figured it out. I only looked, but I never touched, 'cause in my heart was a picture of us holding hands, making plans.
You can see that she's kind of taking the microphone away from her mouth, holding hands, making plans. It's because when we go to a more open vowel, holding hands, making plans, that will increase the volume, or the perceived volume. So we're not actually trying to make more volume. It just, because of the mouth shape, it comes out as being louder. So we take the microphone away so that we can level out the sound going into the microphone.
It's lucky for me you understand what a girl wants, what a girl needs, whatever makes me happy and sets you free. I'm thanking you for knowing exactly what a girl wants, what a girl needs, whatever keeps me in your arms. I'm thanking you for giving it to me.
Oh my goodness me, this is so beautiful. I love the way that she's bringing in her own style into the song. And she's going, what a girl wants, what a girl needs. And she's kind of coming down at the end of the phrase. And that's very similar to what she's been doing in her song, for example, Is It Taste? It's got, hold your back together. And she kind of falls off the end of the phrase in that song as well. And we've got keeps me in your arms, going up into that falsetto sound. There's a stiffening of the vocal folds as we're going further up the range. Again, taking the volume right out of the sound. For the most part, though, we're still in a very similar chest voice sound. Let's just go back on that.
Holding hands, making plans, and it's lucky for me.
And you can see there, when she goes, holding hands, making plans, that's very similar to what she does in Please, 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 with the way she kind of speaks things. Let's just listen to that again.
Touched, 'cause in my heart was a picture of us holding hands, making plans, and it's lucky for me you understand what a girl.
So you can hear they were holding hands, making plans, and lucky for me, you understand that it's a rhotic tongue, so where we bunch up the tongue muscle, and that is an accent dependent thing. And it's also really widely used in country music as well. So it really depends on someone's bass accent, whether they would use that or not. For example, like in New Zealand, I would not use that type of R, but in some states of America, you would.
And it's lucky for me you understand what a girl wants, what makes me happy and sets you free. I'm thanking you for knowing exactly what a girl wants, what a girl needs, whatever keeps me in your arms. I'm thanking you for giving it to me.
And I'm thanking you for giving it to me. We've got that mixed voice sound there. The vocal folds just coming together a little bit thicker, but again, the volume is relatively low. We don't have to necessarily belt the shit out of things. When we are in this mixed voice sound, we can choose the volumes that we're going to be using. But again, the vocal folds are closed, not a lot of breath coming through there.
Now, Christina, show us what the girls want. Love you, Sabrina.
There was a time I was blind, I was so confused. Ran away just to hide it all from you. Baby, you know me better than I knew myself. They say if you learn something, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours, and that's how you know.
I love how she's changing the melody just ever so slightly, but it is very, very, very true to the original. So the first verse was kind of a slightly plainer melody, and then she starts embellishing it in the second verse. And this is another way that we can gain momentum and sort of build the song when we start changing the melody ever so slightly and going up a little bit in that second verse. Let's just go back to the beginning of this. We're hearing a decidedly darker timbre in comparison to Sabrina's first verse and chorus, but we do know that Sabrina also has a lovely dark timbre to her voice as well. But I love that juxtaposition.
There was a time I was blind, I was so confused.
Love that. You can hear that her speaking there. Da 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 da. There was a time I was blind, I was so confused. So the larynx has gone down. The tongue, like I talked about with the Rotic, are the bunching of the tongue. So if we use that the whole time, this is something that, for example, Anastasia uses and Shakira uses as well. That bunching up of the tongue can darken the sound.
Ran away just to hide it all from you. Baby, you know me better than I knew myself. They say if you learn
Some you say, ooh. Again, that ooh going to more of a closed vowel there is going to facilitate changing into that falsetto voice quality, and also bringing the vowel forward is going to allow us to not spread so much air as it's coming out of the mouth.
I knew myself. They say if you learn something, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours, and that's how you know. It's for keeps, yeah, it's for sure. And you're ready, you're willing to give me more than what a girl wants. What a girl needs makes me happy, set you free.
So when we're going into, basically Christina is in a mixed sound here. We've got that lowering, we've got the thickening of the lowering of the larynx, thickening of the vocal folds, but again, it's still quite cry, what makes me happy, sets you free. And I went too far there. Let's just go to the end of this verse.
If you learn something, let it go.
So we hear there a decidedly different timbre, something let it go. So we've gone into that belt just for those couple of notes there, and then we've gone back into the mix. Just watch that again and you'll hear that timbre change. It goes like exciting and then goes back to kind of like chilled.
Baby, you know me better than I knew myself. They say if you learn something, let it go. If it comes back, it's yours, and that's how you know.
Oh, you can hear there, you know, if you let it know, if it comes back, it's yours. And then it goes back down into that less vibrant part of the range. So belt is really only used in the upper parts of the range because it's that kind of like crying out moment, but we only want to use it for a short section of the song.
And it's for sure, and you're ready, you're willing to give me more than what a girl wants. A girl needs makes me happy, set you free. I'm thanking you for knowing exactly
What a girl wants, what a girl needs, whatever keeps me in your arms. I'm thanking you for giving it to me. What a girl needs.
somebody said to
ever paid attention to the lyrics before now. Some of the rage is sexy. Wow, I actually quite like these. Lyrics, yeah. But anyway, you can really hear there the differences in the timbres between Sabrina and Christina's voice. Christina has, and this is again subjective just in my opinion, I feel like she has a slightly more pressed vocal fold context. So she's got this, what a girl wants, what a girl needs. It's almost like being pressed, and a little bit more compression going on. Could also be due to the compression of the tongue pulling back. Let's just listen to that again, that change. Can you hear those two different timbre changes? So we had Christina with that more pressed vocal fold closure, and then what a girl wants, almost like a little bit of breath coming through there, but decidedly, well, there's really no constriction going on in Sabrina's sound when she's singing this chorus. Oh my goodness me, before she gets into those crazy things, we have to just say like, those. Okay, I cannot seem to find the names of these stunning background singers. So let me know down in the comments if you know who they are. That was a full-on belted gospel sound in 3-part harmony. But we had, when we're talking about a gospel sound, we've got, it's pretty much a belt with a little bit of that twang. It's so not my type of sound, but we've got that twang. It's in my accent, a narrowing of the area above the larynx. So when they went, and let's just watch that again, because you really hear that in their sound. Absolutely beautiful. We just have to take a moment for the background singers, because that was just absolutely stunning. And I don't know how long they've been practicing for this performance, but I'm not sure if they sing more often together or if they're an actual group, because often singers will tend to sort of stay, background singers will sort of tend to stay in their little groups that they tour around with, because they know that as a trio or as in a quartet, their voices blend really well together. And then they can sort of sell themselves to the studios and to the performers who are recording as a setup group. This is just so fantastic. I think this is actually better than the original, because I am absolutely loving how much more space the background vocals are being given in this performance. I suppose it's maybe the first time that I've really paid attention to them, but absolutely wonderful performances here. Okay, so that's a high C. For someone as amazing as Christina Aguilera, I would not... nothing to really write home about it, but it is a high C6, so that's what we call a high C. That's a very, very high note if you are not an experienced singer.
Whatever keeps me in your arms is what I
Okay, So she's up on the E flat 5. Now this is a full belt sound at this point. When she's going, hey, that would be a sort of a more of this twangy belt, and it's thinning the vocal folds. Hey, hey, and every now and again she's going, hey, hey. You see when she's opening her mouth into more of that trumpet shape, that's going to again accentuate with the formants that we're wanting to boost for belt, so it's going to come out as being a much louder sound. She put her hand to her hair like that because she's got inner ears like I've got in here. It was probably just so that she could hear herself a little bit better. Pressing it into the ear will just help it to stay in there. Well, it just, you know, presses it more into you hear better. Oh, this is so fantastic. So I don't know about you, but a lot of people ask me the question of, should I sit or stand when I'm singing? Look, when you're talking about Christina, these are old songs. She's been singing them for a really, really long time. And also this is just like so in her wheelhouse. So someone at her type of level, it doesn't really matter whether she's standing or sitting, but I would recommend to people who are learning to sing to pay attention to the energy differences when they're sitting down, because often they'll slouch forward. You notice she's not slouching, she's sitting up really, really tall. So that's something to notice as well, because we're talking about all of the internal muscles here and the abs and in the back supporting the sound and not letting it all scrunch forward. So both of them you can see are, you know, are sitting, and it doesn't really make much of a difference at their level to the sound production.
It has been such an amazing experience going back and reflecting on the last 25 years. Thank you to the fans. Thank you to my band. Thank you for everyone who is here and had something to do with this. Sabrina, I love you.
What a girl wants, what a girl needs, whatever keeps me in your arms. I'm thanking you for knowing exactly.
Oh, that was so fantastic as well. And like you notice when she's speaking there, she has a completely different timbre to the way that she speaks. Now, it doesn't really matter, because what we're looking for when we're talking to singers is it what they're looking for? Is it hurting them in any way? And is it creating tension that they don't necessarily want in their sound? And so those are the questions that we will always ask with singers, if they are, you know, whether it is a healthy sound or not. And that would be something that only a doctor would tell you, like, okay, this is causing you nodules or whatever. But we know with someone, for example, like Mariah Carey, she had functioning nodules, but actually she just didn't really care and kept on singing on them and found a way around them. So it's really in the end up to the performer as to what they choose to do. Now, on the flip side of that, it is really important to make sure that we are always able to sing with clear tones, so without any scratching or effects, and with a distorted tone. So that's any type of effects and things like that. And I would call Christina's this tongue going backwards and larynx going down as being a slightly distorted tone. So we would want to see, can she turn it on and can she turn it off? Because if you've got any type of sore throat or you're not feeling well, you're recovering from something, that extra tension in the throat is going to make it harder for you to sing. But as I say, that's something that only a doctor can really prescribe or even tell you about, because they need to put a nose, they need to put a camera down your nose to have a look at the actual vocal folds. Oh my goodness me, I absolutely loved it. Check out the other Christina performances up here. I had a look at I Turn to You and Obvious. Thank you so much for joining me. If you've enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, because it does help me to carve out more of my working week to spend more time here with you on YouTube, because I absolutely love it. And if you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to have singing lessons with me, check out the link in the description below, because my online singing school, the Vocal Academy, is accepting new students. If you want to sing with more confidence and more security, as well as, you know, get together with a community full of people who are looking to improve their vocal technique, then check it out below. Check out more Christina up here, and I'll see you around next time. Happy singing. Ka kite anō.